In this video, we are going to talk about the sed command. Sed command, or stream editor, is a very powerful utility offered by Linux Unix systems. It's mainly used for text substitution, find and replace, but it can also perform other manipulations like insertions, deletions, and search. With sed, we can edit complete files without actually opening these files. Sed also supports the use of regular expressions, which makes it an even more powerful text manipulation tool. An important idea is that sed operates line by line. At every step, it reads one line, operates on it, and prints the output of this line, if any. So you should always think in terms of lines when dealing with sed. Another important idea when dealing with regular expressions, like for egrep or sed commands, is that it's perfectly natural that when you write your command, it doesn't work as you expected. It takes some time to get used to regular expressions, and you may need to debug your pattern. Try to go part by part, starting from the simple and growing your expression in steps, checking if each part gives you what you expect. Let's start by downloading the novel Ulysses from the Gutenberg project. First of all, this file comes with Windows-style line endings, so let's convert it to Unix-style new lines first. Now, sed is a very strong tool and it supports all sorts of different functions. For example, it's very simple to delete lines that match a certain pattern. Let's first try to remove empty lines from our file. We will also redirect the result to a new file. We do this using the sed, and then we give to sed a search pattern. The delete command has two backslashes. Between, we write the search pattern that we are looking for, and then we will tell the sed to delete such lines. And the lines that we are looking for are the ones that have the beginning and end of the line, and nothing in between. So this is an empty line. We are going to delete such lines from ulysses.txt, and we are going to save the result as a new file, ulysses no empty.txt. Now let's check the new file. The new lines are removed. Sed is maybe most commonly used for finding patterns in a text and replacing them with new strings, but you can also use it to just find patterns, in which case it is equivalent to the egrep command. Let's start with finding patterns first. So now let's search for the pattern that in the text. Remember that sed will go through the novel line by line and print lines that include this pattern. We do this search using the flag, the argument -n. So sed by default prints every line, whether it finds the pattern or not. The -n argument is for suppressing this default printing of every line. I will add an argument e. The capital E argument means that we are using extended regular expressions in the search pattern. And at the end of the search command, I will have this flag p, which tells the sed to print the lines that match our search. As the search pattern, I'm going to give that. So this command is going to print lines if and only if they include that, in which case they will be printed. Otherwise, the lines are not going to be printed. So Let's run this now on Ulysses, and we can see here each line only if they include the search query. This is similar to a use of grep. Now let's try the main usage of set, which is replacing those patterns that it finds. For this we are going to use the substitute function. This goes, again I will say style set to show me only the lines if it finds the search pattern, and then my search pattern can be a regular expression. The pattern this time starts with an S, which means substitute. I want to find every instance of that, and I want to substitute them with which. The G here tells set to replace every instance of that with which. If we omit this, only the first that in each line is going to be substituted. Including G, make sure that if there are more than one that's in a line, all of them are going to be substituted. And eventually I'm going to put a P, which means print me the lines that you find and replace this pattern. And I'm going to apply that again on ulysses.txt. And now we will see the lines that have which as replaced. So, say we want to change the entire novel, go through it line by line, replace every occurrence of that with which, and save the new file as a new novel. In that case, I'm going to omit the -n flag here. I will use only the -e for regular expressions, and this is going to print me every line now, whether or not it has the search pattern. I will say that this is a substitute query, and I want to replace every occurrence of that with which. I still need this G flag because I want to replace every occurrence of that with which. And I will apply this on Ulysses and say I'm going to save this file as a new novel. And then if we view this file, and if we search for that in the file, we can do the search using a / in less. We write the search query and we press enter, then the pattern has not been found because all the deaths have been replaced. Now let's perform a more complex search, and we are going to use some regular expressions here. Let's search for lines that include the pattern something like that D. So something like that said, that occurred, that would. First, let's assume that there can be only one word here before the D suffix and no words in between these two words. So I want them to be consecutive. Let's first try to just find such lines. So I will perform a find query, and I want to see only the matching lines. My query is that I want the that to start the phrase, and then I want at least one, but possibly more lowercase letters, and I want them to be ended with a D. After the D suffix, I want either a space or a comma, or for example say a period or a question mark or an exclamation or a colon. And I want to perform this on ulysses.txt. I have forgot the command here. I want such lines to be printed. By the way, I can also accept the line end here. So this finds me such instances, for example, that could or that provided. So do you see the necessity for this final part? what is the significance of this final part of my query? So what would happen if I omit these stopper characters and I just look for that space, some characters, at least one, and the D? Can you imagine what's going to happen? Let's try. So, for example, this also accepts this pattern, which is there is a that and some characters and a D character, but D is not the word final character, so there is something that follows D. But in my query, I want D to be followed by some kind of word boundary. In egrep, we can use the \b for this, but not all flavors of sed accept that \b. So here I needed to write them in open, like it can be a space, it can be a comma, it can be a period, something, but there needs to come some kind of word stop after the D. So let's now substitute this string that id with that not. So that would not, that could not, that said not, something like that. So how are we going to modify this query? First, I will write it as a substitute command. So I will need the s here. Then I will give my search pattern. It will be that, and then some letters A to Z, at least one, followed by a D, and then some stop characters. Can be a period. Not that I need to escape the period here, because the period has a meaning for regular expressions. So it normally means any character, but if I actually want the period character, then I need to write the \, before that. So this can be a comma, a colon, question mark, or exclamation mark. So this I want to be changed with that something 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 not. This part I know. This part of my new phrase is fixed. There will be a dot, there will be a not. But what is going to be here in the middle? So this will depend on this part. Whatever word we find there should be replicated here. Since we don't know what sed is going to find, this is going to change for every occasion. In this case, we can refer to this part of the matched pattern by using the numbers 1 to 9 here. So if we capture this part of the string in parentheses, we tell sed that we will possibly want to use this part of the pattern again, so it should remember what is here. And since it is the first captured group, this will be called \1 here. This \1 is going to match whatever part has been found for this. And actually the second part of this string, whatever stop character has been found, I also want to add that after my new replacement, so I will capture this also using parentheses, and I will add this after my not. So this is going to find that something something and a stop character, and it's going to replace it with that something something not and the stop character. And I'm going to use G here for every such match to be substituted, and I will redirect this to, for example, I will first apply it on ulysses.txt, and I will redirect it to say ulysses negative.txt. I forgot the redirection, So it tells me that it couldn't find this input file, this redirection here for writing to the file. Yes. Now let's see what the file looks like. We can search for example, that wood. And here is the knot that we have added.